There were times I was lost, dark had fear, couldn't see through the rain. In the end it was clear, hit the fan. I was more than one man who was there to lend a hand. Together we'd stand, always had my back, my guardian soldier. Team pulled together, united we conquer. Blessed is he who in the name of charity carry me when I'm weak straight through the valley of darkness. Pitch blackness, the heartless, regardless, fear couldn't part us. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. Thick and thin, there by my side. At times we collide, but in the end we ride. We ride, ride. I am my brother's keeper. Keep on holding strong. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we belong. I am my brother's keeper. Keep on holding strong. United we stand, divided we fall. Together we belong. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper. I am my brother's keeper.
And we are live. This is show number 10, and we are back with another episode of Inside the Helmet. This time featuring one of Australia's up-and-coming prospects, T-Dub Husqvarna's Liam Owens. Before we get started, thank you to the sponsors who support Mental for Moto: Death Grip Products, Works Racing, and Wolf Building Compliance. I'd also like to thank everyone that has bought themselves some Mental for Moto merch in the last week. We've already sold out of the first batch of hoodies. I haven't even had a chance to add the merch to the website yet. So a huge thank you to everyone that got in early via DM or came and saw me at the track over the weekend. I am totally blown away by the support. If you're still after a hoodie, never fear. I'll be ordering some more this week in both adult and kids sizes. So keep an eye on our socials and on the website. It'll be up soon. Okay, enough waffling from me. Let's get on to our guest for this episode. This year, the hotly contested Penrite ProMX Championship's MX3 class has given fans the opportunity to witness the emergence of the next generation of Aussie motocross superstars. One of those prospects is T-Dub Husqvarna's Liam Owens. At just 15 years of age, not only is Liam making a name for himself locally, having been on the podium in 2 out of the 3 ProMX rounds he's raced this year, he has also recently returned from Europe after having received an invitation to race 2 rounds of the MXGP's European Championship in the EMX 250 class for the French-based Bud Racing Kawasaki team. Welcome to the show, Liam.
Thank you. It's great to be on.
All good. It's great to have you on. How have you been anyway?
Oh, not too bad. We just finished up at Adelaide this weekend. So, yeah, just flew back home and getting in a bit of schoolwork today, actually.
Oh, awesome. How's your weekend racing, round 5 of the Aussie ProMX Championship over in Gilman?
It was pretty rough. Yeah, had bike troubles all weekend. Yeah, so I think my first race was 11th place, and then I DNF'd the next one. So it was a bit rough.
Yeah, bummer. A long way to go for that.
Yeah, not wrong.
And how have you found this year's ProMX Championship so far?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've done 3 rounds now. 2 out of 3 I've podiumed, except this weekend, obviously. So I've been enjoying it because podium's always fun. But, yeah, otherwise it's been good with the team and like the tracks and the big ruts and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah. The MX3 class this year seems to be pretty deep, which I guess is a great sign for the future of motocross in Australia. What are your thoughts with regard to the quality of some of the younger riders coming through?
Yeah, it's awesome because for me, it was a big helping when I went to EMX 250. Like, the speed is obviously a bit better, but it gets you a lot more prepared. Like, you're not shocked by the speed.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for the Australians that get picked for the World Junior 125s this year.
Oh, definitely. Between training, riding and racing, I imagine you're pretty busy. Are you still going to school full-time as well? And what sort of program are you running there?
This year's the first year I've started homeschool, but I'm doing, I want to be like an engineer, like something to fall back on. But, yeah, so I'm doing most of the maths and sciences at the moment. But, yeah, homeschool this year.
Oh, cool. What do you do as far as off-bike training goes?
At the moment, pretty much anything. Oh, like not anything, but at this point in the season, it's more explosive stuff, conditioning and being ready for the next race. Like, obviously a bit of strength and stuff, but don't want to be too sore for the weekend. But if I get a month's break, we usually hit the training pretty hard.
Yeah. So how many nights a week or days a week are you training on bike and off bike?
Pretty much every day. Maybe I'll have a rest day probably once a week, and I'll ride 1 to 3 days, most likely.
Yep.
Is usually. Ideally, I'd probably like to ride 4.
And are you doing like motos or sprints?
It depends on the day. Like you obviously want to get your endurance and stuff in, just bike time. But I've been doing a bit more sprints with a few different people. So yeah.
No, awesome. Your Insta profile says that you're training for the big picture. I think a lot of younger riders come unravelled a bit as they allow themselves to get too caught up in the ups and downs of the races along the way. So for someone who's just 15, in my opinion anyway, that's a pretty great mindset to have. Where does that big picture perspective come from? Is it something your parents have instilled in you? Yeah,
definitely. And Todd Waters, that's on a race line, and he has mentored me for a while now.
Yep.
And our goal is in 3 years' time or whatever to be in Europe is the goal.
Oh, okay.
And it's just steps to be better and better each time.
So as you sort of mentioned, you race MX3 for the T-Dub Husqvarna team here in Australia. When you announced you were going to do a couple of the EMX 250 rounds in Europe a few months back, I just assumed it was going to be on a Husky. So how did the opportunity to ride for the Bud Racing Kawasaki team all come about?
I think Bud Racing they were after another rider, Australian. They put my name into it, and I was lucky enough to be flown over and get to race those 2 rounds. So, yeah.
Did you have a relationship with that team before this, or was that just something new that came up?
That was something new, yeah. So it was definitely cool to just get thrown in the deep end.
Oh, most definitely. Did the Bud Racing team, sort of while you're over there, look after all your travel and expenses, or was it more like we'll give you a bike and that the rest is up to you type of deal?
It was pretty much all paid, yeah. So it was awesome. That's the most real deal I've ever got. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, definitely a fantastic deal, especially when you're going overseas and Europe is there's a lot of things to learn, and it's a little bit different to over here. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was very helpful with the team, like being able to speak English and stuff too, because they're French.
Yes.
I know they're big on World Supercross and everything, so they're always after Americans, so they speak quite well, and it was really helpful. They made me feel like family when I was there.
Oh, that's so cool. I believe you did a couple of rounds in Europe last year as a privateer racing a Husqvarna 125. Tell me a little bit about what the whole experience was like going over there and racing with an established team this time.
Yeah, this time was a lot better. Just even trying to get into the pit sometimes, it was a bit funny when I did the 125s.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have anyone else that spoke French or anything. You had to kind of pick it up yourself to even get in. If your wristband or something fell off in your race, because that was an issue. They would not let me in. So I had to ride my bike through them to get in last year.
Yeah.
So it was different this time. When you're in a Bud Racing shirt, they barely even check.
Yep. Yeah.
You just walk straight through. It's cool.
Yeah, you don't want to be dealing with all those sorts of little issues when you're trying to concentrate on what you're doing.
That's right. Especially when you travel that far and the field's so deep. You really want to just be focusing on just racing and not worrying about even just what you're going to eat and everything like that. So it's really good.
So on that note, how long were you in Europe for, and who went with you, and where did you stay, and sort of what did you do for food and all that sort of stuff?
So I think I got signed for 10 days for 2 rounds. Yeah, so we flew over, and then Bud Racing has apartments where you can stay in.
Oh, yeah.
And the person I was filling in for wasn't there at the time. He's back home recovering, and yeah, so we got there. So we had somewhere to stay. It was a really cool place. It was, I think, the World Surfing Tour used to be there. So it was at a beach. It was hot, so it was good. It was like Australia.
Yeah.
And they had a sand, they had their own facility and stuff close, riding place.
So was that in France?
Yeah, that was in France, Hossega.
Yep.
It was cool. There's really deep sand tracks and everything around there. So
cool.
It was very cool.
So who went over there with you?
Dad went over with me. He ended up flying over with me. He dropped that. We were mustering the cows actually on a Sunday. We got the call. And then 12 hours later, we were on the plane. So it was pretty wild.
Oh, it sounds like it. Have you got a bit of land where you are and a track at home as well?
Yeah, we're on Mount Mee, so it's a pretty hilly track.
Yep.
It's almost enduro kind of thing, but it's enough that you can get your motors and push still.
Yeah. Is that up in Queensland?
Yeah, Queensland.
Yep.
Near Brisbane.
Oh, yep. No, awesome. The EMX 250 class, I believe, has an age cap of 21. How did you find it riding against significantly older and more experienced riders? Yeah,
it was definitely different. You walk past them, and I thought one of them was a mechanic because they have a big beard almost hanging out the bottom of their helmet. It was weird. It was like racing fully grown men. But you could tell in the maturity of their riding too, just like with their racecraft and things. They've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
But I felt like if I had a bit more time, I would be able to pick it up, obviously. So that was a big thing, was just everyone. I was pretty much the youngest there. So
Yeah. When you say maturity they're riding, is the MX3 class here a little bit wilder?
it depends, because the top guys are quite good.
Yep.
But yeah, the guys that are winning the top three are usually quite consistent, even in MX3 and MX250.
Yep.
But I'd say it's just as jumbled because everyone's almost running the same pace in both Australia and Europe.
Yep, and they're running 40-man gates over there as well.
Yeah, so that's the difference. It kind of feels like there's 40 really fast guys.
Yeah.
And then in Australia, there's a good 12 that could run pace, like good top 10 pace and everything.
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference, just their qualifying speed and stuff too.
Yeah. So in Australia, you race a Euro steel-framed bike, and obviously the Kawasaki's an aluminium frame Japanese bike. Did you get much of an opportunity to ride the KX250 before your first race in Portugal? And did it feel much different to the Husky you race back here at home?
Yeah, it was completely different. It was the weirdest thing I've ever done. But I did really like the bike. The engine and everything was great. Yeah, it was probably, the first thoughts were probably on the sand. It probably wasn't as stable as a Husqvarna, but it was definitely, I liked it on the hard pack.
Yep.
It was good power. It was like, it felt like my 350 at home.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, it was good.
How did you sort of end up? How much practice did you get before you started?
We got, I think it was on the Wednesday and the Thursday.
Yep.
I got to ride probably for like 1 or 2 hours each day, but it was a lot of just getting bars and everything in the right place and a few suspension clickers and things.
Yeah, just getting it basically set up.
Yeah, that was about it, and just getting a bit used to it.
Yeah. So if you were to go back on a Cowie, would you need a bit more time to get fully comfortable?
Yeah, definitely, because it's a totally different bike. Like, I think all bikes now are pretty good. You can adapt pretty fast.
Yes.
But yeah, I think if I had a few more rounds, I probably would have got a bit better. Yeah, a bit more comfy. But besides that, I think I adapted pretty well, and I think I would be able to do it again.
Yep. So during your trip, I believe you did the Portugal and Spain rounds. What are the tracks like in comparison to the tracks on the Aussie ProMX circuit?
They're a lot faster, like the turns and the entries to the turns are a lot faster, it feels like. And the straights are a lot wider. Like, everything's just a bit bigger.
Yes. Yep.
Like in Australia, we'll have, might have a long, fast straight, but it'll be a really tight, like hairpin turn almost, where you come to almost back down like 5 kilometers an hour, feels like.
Yeah.
Where over there, it kind of you're keeping your momentum. So your head speed kind of struggles sometimes because all the bumps and everything coming at you a lot faster.
Yeah, you got a lot more to process.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I struggled with because I wasn't used to how a bike reacts when you hit a bump that fast, like on a turn.
Yep.
Because you don't do it.
Yeah, I guess that creates a few challenges both in bike setup and just as a rider as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're really good at sliding their rear end on flat turns. Like in Portugal, there was barely a rut. It was kind of just like a sandy red sand. It was like a loam, and it was just flat, and they're really good at power sliding. So I need to get better at my flat turns and things.
So the EMX rounds, they work on the same weekends as the MXGP, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's like same day and everything. So
yep. So how does it sort of fit in? What does the agenda for the day look like?
I think like at the start of the day, when you're with a team, like on the Friday, there's like a little test area to do starts and things. So we might spend an hour down there doing starts on the Friday. Everyone kind of does. Then on the Saturday, you do a few starts and stuff to warm up, and then you go out for free practice, which I think for EMX 250 is anywhere. I think it's 25 minutes, so it's very long.
Yes, yep.
And then you have like another 2-3 hour break, and then you have I think it's timed practice, which is qualifying. That's 25 minutes again. And then you have another 2 hour break, and then you'll race at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which is quite late.
Yeah, that's on the Saturday, yeah?
Yeah, that's on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, you're usually second up after the women's or the EMX 25. And then that's it. You get to watch all the racing, all the hurlings and everyone. Was pretty cool to watch on the Sunday.
Ah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So they don't prep the tracks in between the races or over the weekend either, do they?
Not usually, but it depends on the club too. That's what I learned. I think it depends on the club because some rounds it was completely prepped like Spain was,
Yes, yep.
and Portugal was still left pretty rough. It was like really choppy and things.
Yep.
So it's hard to tell. Sometimes they might just prep up ramp, sometimes it's full prep. But they always prep the start straight for every race.
And what were the crowds like over there compared to here in Australia?
Well, they're pretty wild. It's really different. That's probably the main difference that you'll notice as an Australian going over.
Yep.
Is just the noise when you're riding. You can really hear the crowd as soon as you let off the throttle, rolling into turns and things. Yeah, like there's chainsaws and they make like these big exhausts on them. They have air horns, just anything that makes noise.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they had two like bins, they'd probably smash them together if they could. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, they had flares and things too. So like for their flag, I noticed that in France last year when I raced. Like we went through the section, wedged on the first lap, and you'd jump over this triple and you'd land in, and you just have a big French flag like flare in your face.
Yeah,
you couldn't see the track. So it's actually a bit dangerous sometimes, but they're just pretty loose. So I love it.
Does that sort of stuff amp you up, or is it a bit distracting when you're trying to race?
It's pretty cool. Like as Australian, you just try and soak it all up, especially because I was only there for 2 weeks. But I think over time you'd kind of get used to it.
You've mentioned elsewhere that your plan is to head back to Europe and hopefully race the full EMX 250 season. Is that still the plan, and how are things tracking along in that regard?
Yeah, so far that's still the plan, yeah. So our goal is to be there. It's kind of a matter of time when we're going to go over, but I think how things are tracking now, there's a good possibility that next year we might go.
Yeah.
Probably whether we're on a team or not, that's still up in the air.
Yes, yeah,
but
yep.
If I don't, I might ride a 252 stroke or something, just so it's competitive with the 4 strokes, the factory runs. Just
to get some experience under your belt.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be a bit of a learning year, and then next year have a dig, and then try and get in the MX2. I think is kind of how, like, ideally, that's the ideal situation.
Yeah. So is the ultimate goal to race MXGP?
Yeah, my goal is to be just a rider that is sustainable there and able to live there, and who knows, might be able to get myself a podium or something.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Are you planning to go over and do any more rounds this year?
We definitely won't this year if it's on our own back, but we'd definitely think about it if there's a team or something.
Yeah, another offer.
We'd definitely jump on it, but otherwise we'll probably wait till next year and just finish off the season here.
You touched on it a bit earlier. Todd Waters, who of course is an accomplished veteran of the sport in his own right, is the principal of the team you race for here in Australia. Is he helping you with your plan to race over in Europe too? And what sort of advice has he given you so far?
He's just a big advocate, and getting over as early as possible. It's something he wished he did when he was younger instead of kind of staying here, because the more years you're over there, the more years you get the chance to learn pretty much.
Yeah, yep.
Because he went over, I think, 19 or 20. He had to kind of get it done in a 6-7 year span, where if he went 16, he was able to learn for three years or so.
Yeah.
And then have a dig. Yeah. So I think that's what he's trying to encourage us to do. So.
And at this stage, you've still got quite a few years up your sleeve in the EMX 250 class if you wanted to stay there before you step up as well, just to gain experience.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's 21 or something.
Yeah, I think in 2022, I think they dropped it from 23 to 21.
Yeah, and before that, they used to have it just, I think, unlimited.
Yeah.
I think that years Jet Lawrence raced it, which shows how good he was.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he won one.
So who do you sort of look up to as far as riders go?
Oh, that's a hard one. Heaps of different people. Like, I like Todd's charisma and how he treats everyone and always has time for everyone. And probably Hurlings, because he's Hurlings. He's just gritty and he gets it done no matter who you are. Yeah, they're probably my main ones.
I mean, I think it's always an eye-opener when you see a rider like in person and riding, firsthand as opposed to on TV and stuff. Did you get a chance to see Hurlings race over there, and what was that like?
Yeah, we got to see him there. He just seems like a bit of a beast, to be honest. Like like the rest of the races, they were good and they turn it on. Like the first 2 laps are really good and their last 2 are really good as well.
Yep.
Sometimes they set their fastest laps where Hurlings almost sit back and fifth till about 15 minutes through, and then the last 15 he knuckles down, and it's just like, holy, he goes so fast.
Yeah.
It's just stuff you wouldn't even think is possible, and you're like, whoa, it's pretty cool.
It's just insane. Over here, you definitely have the potential to contend for podiums. The calibre of rider on the European circuit is extremely high, though. If it all goes well, would you be heading there next year with a particular goal as far as results go? Or is the plan at this stage just to gain experience?
When I go over, obviously try and do the best I can, but it's a bit hard because depends like if the championship, like maybe I might be able to try and jump in that top 10 ideally. So I'm in with mixing it with all the teams, like in between all the teams, so you get a bit noticed. But it's hard to kind of set a goal until you're there too.
Yeah, of course.
It's a big step up, but yeah, ideally I just want to do the best I can and deal with what situation I get given.
No, that's a very cool way to look at it, and yeah, I think a recipe for success.
Yep.
The Aussie Supercross season is now very late in the year, so it doesn't really clash with the European motocross season too much. Do you think you'll do any Supercross in the future?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to doing Supercross. I definitely like motocross more, but I think I'm going to do Supercross this year. And if I don't race, I'm definitely going to be training it. Yeah, Supercross is something I like doing.
Yeah,
but I think MXGP is where I want to be.
Do you have any plans to sort of check out the US in the future as well? Is it all focused on the European circuit at this stage? At
this stage, it's Europe, but I would definitely be open to doing America, obviously. So any experience I can gain is good.
Yep. And what about here locally in Australia? Do you plan on stepping up to MX2 or the MX1 class as well in between?
Yeah, like that's a possibility. It kind of depends on the circumstances and stuff I'm given, but yeah, I would be definitely open to it. I think it'd probably be important to win MX3 first, like be dominant, pretty dominant.
Yes, yeah.
Before I step up, I think. Yeah, at least for this year, maybe next year, be pretty dominant. At least like show that I've got the speed and everything. Yeah. Which I think I do. I just need to prove it.
Yeah,
really, before I Yeah, I think I could mix with the MX2 boys.
In the past, I sort of haven't followed the MX3 class too closely, but this year it's been crazy. The like you sort of touched on before, the top, I don't know, 5 or 6 guys, yourself included, are just so close, and it's just unreal when you're all battling, and it seems to be at the end of every race, everyone comes together.
Yeah, that's right, because there's always some younger kid that goes pretty good too.
Yep.
Like even like Seth Shackleton on the weekend, he did really well, got a start, and he was up there.
Yeah,
I saw. So it's cool because the less experienced guys and the people that have been there for a year or so, they kind of all bunch up at the end.
Yep.
So that's a good race.
And it's a real mix of juniors and seniors too, which is cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, you can definitely see. It's pretty funny sometimes because you see like a little kid that, like, I'm not that old obviously, but they'll be like talking, "Hey mate," like they'll be really just like a kid still.
Yeah.
And then they're racing like fully grown teenagers too.
Yeah.
So very different. So it's cool to have that diversity in the racing.
Yeah, it's crazy for me. You know, I'm a little bit older, but when I see you guys in the pits, it's like on the bikes when you're riding, you all look like grown men when you're on the bikes, and then
yeah, that's right.
Seeing you in the pits, and yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's definitely different, but it's cool because it gives you good experience for when you do make the jump to MX2. Like, you're not going to get shocked. That's what I think in the past, like the juniors, when they jump to MX2, as soon as they turn 16, they kind of struggle a little bit with the intensity for the first year.
Yes, yeah.
I think MX3 is going to be really helpful for that.
Oh, big time. I really like the fact that everything seems to be growing in Australia and in the motocross scene as far as the classes, the media coverage, the support. So I'm sort of hoping we're heading into another golden era of moto.
Yeah, I think we are. Seems like some of the teams are handing out a bit more support and things too.
Yep.
It seems. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm getting older too. With MX3 and it's getting a bit more significant.
Yes.
It feels like some of the gear sponsors and stuff are getting a bit more into it again.
Yeah, I agree. I think the team support for the younger riders and even the women's class, it's all ramping up, which is it's a great sign for the future of the sport in general.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like they're getting more numbers, the women's and stuff.
Yep.
And the weekend seems pretty good, yeah.
Even on the local scene, the number of junior riders, like there's so many fast fast kids coming up now as well.
That's right. In Queensland, it was kind of got in a bit of a slump for a bit where there wouldn't be many riders, but now it's starting to ramp up again, and there's quite a lot of people at the track.
No, very cool. Well, I really appreciate you coming on to record the podcast. Before we go, do you sort of want to thank anyone or mention anyone who supports your program?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Paul from MPE, Complete Racing Solutions, with my training and everything off bike, getting me ready for these weekends and when I fly over to Europe last minute and things like that. So I always feel prepared. Todd Waters, T-Dub, M2R with the helmets and everything, keeping my melon safe. That's pretty much it, really. All the main significant ones.
Like I said, thanks heaps for coming on, and good luck with the rest of the season. And in the future, hopefully you get another offer to go over and race EMX 250 with a team. Yeah,
that'd be amazing. Thanks for the wishes.
I'll chat to you again soon. I think I'm coming up to cover the last 2 rounds up in Queensland.
Oh, so, that's good.
If I see you out there, I'll come over and say good day.
Yeah, sounds great.
All right. Thanks for your time, Liam.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, mate. See ya. Well, I guess it's time to wind this episode up. Thanks again to Liam for coming on the show. I really like his attitude, and I think he's got the potential to go far. Thanks to our sponsors, Death Grip Products, Works Racing, and Wolf Building Compliance. And of course, a big thanks to you people for listening. Our download numbers are growing steadily, so hopefully that means we're doing something right. But if there's a particular topic you'd like us to cover, or a guest you'd like us to have on the show, hit me up via DM or the contact form on our website, and I'll try and make it happen. Until next time, see ya.